Guys, I don't know about you, but ever since I tweeted and posted a tweet yesterday tagging late kick host Josh Pate on X. I tagged him, and he's in the middle of a gas station recruiting wars right now. If you're watching his show, go and watch it on YouTube and listen to it on all audio platforms as well. But he's in the middle of a gas station recruiting war. I posted on my social media on X that I'm only committed to one thing, and that is, and I tagged them, Pop-Tarts. I tagged the Pop-Tarts brand. I tagged Pop-Tarts on X. And ever since then, I've just been fixated for the whole day, even Monday and now today, which is Tuesday, July 9th, is Pop-Tarts. I've just been fixated on Pop-Tarts. So here we are, Pop-Tarts. I'm giving y'all a shout out right now. If y'all want to do something with Pigskin Frenzy, please, I'll keep doing it. I'll keep on tagging Pop-Tarts. I feel like I, need Pop-Tarts. Please, Pop-Tarts sound really, really good right now. Guys, welcome to Pigskin Frenzy on this wonderful and beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris, and whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, listening on Podbean or Apple, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by me. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple, all you have to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X, Instagram, and Facebook, just type in Pigskin Frenzy. Follow, like the pages there. You're going to get episode updates. You're going to get news and highlights from across college and NFL football. You're going to get trivia questions on Instagram stories. Go and answer today's college football question, as well as all things up to date for Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, the website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. You'll find a home and about me page. Learn more about me as your podcast host. You can contact me down there. Ask questions. I will answer them on the show or on my free time. And there's also the platforms page. You can go and click on whichever platform you want to listen to. A lot of the platforms I just mentioned are on that platforms page. Now, there's also our affiliations page and our partnerships page, which brings us to our proud partner of the podcast, the Beard Club. Guys, if you want a great shave, I know I just shaved, and I don't have a scruff or a beard right now, but when I do, I use these wonderful products for the Beard Club. Go and get these amazing products now. Beard grooming kits are just insane. They're insane. They're really, really good. It helps. There's a summer sale going on right now. A summer sale, guys. A rest of the summer sale going on right now. 25% off with the code SUMMER. Just type that in and you can get your beard grooming kit. The beard grooming kit comes with a boar bristle brush, a comb, a beard balm, beard oil, beard and face wash, all in the beard, and a razor, all in the beard grooming kits. There's also beard growth kits. There's also 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. There is loofahs. There is body wash, 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. You name it, all with the Beard Club. Go and get your products now. Go to my website, pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. Click on the affiliations page. There you will click on the Beard Club logo, and it will take you to the website. You can go to my link tree on my X, Instagram, and Facebook bios, as well as the description of this YouTube video. Go and check it out and click on the description of this YouTube video. My link tree is down there. Go to my link tree, click on the Beard Club link, and it will take you to the site. 25% off summer sale with the code SUMMER, and you will get your fantastic products through Pigskin Frenzy. Pigskin Frenzy is Big Beard Club, proud partner of Pigskin Frenzy, the podcast. Thank you for being our proud partner. It is going to help grooming needs be met for men. College football day today, that's a lot of plugs, and I thought that went pretty smooth. College football day today, we don't have a list. We don't have a lot to talk about besides two things. We're going to recap our conference standing projections. We're going to talk about the best of the best and talk about some of the teams that we need to watch out for coming up in college football in 2024. Kind of a small thing there. And we're also going to talk about and go out to we're going to go out to Utah State. And we're going to see what's going on down there and what's going on in Logan, Utah. And we are going to talk about what's going out there what's going on out there in Logan, Utah, with the Utah State Aggies and the allegations going on there within their football team. Now, we're going to talk, and their athletic department in general. So we're going to talk about those two main things. Keep plugging into Pigskin Frenzy, guys. It's not going to be the longest college football episode like it's been the past, month of June, but we're getting ready to rock and roll. Next week, we will be discussing our first round of Media Day coverage. We're going to talk about the Big 12 Media Days next week and kind of provide some insight on the Big 12 Media Days. Then we'll get to the SEC. Then we'll get to the ACC and Big 10 eventually. So first round of Media Day coverage is with the Big 12 next week. For Pigskin Frenzy episode 141, we are at 139 for this Tuesday. So let's just dive deep into the conference standing projection recaps and why do I do these? So let's talk about that for a second. Why I do these conference standing projections? One, because they're fun. I mean, and it provides intrigue for everybody listening to the show. It provides intrigue on the 2024 season and beyond and what's coming up during the seasons. Last year, during our first season and our first year of Pigskin Frenzy, we did our conference standing projections. We did the Power 5 because the Pac-12 was still a thing. We projected the conference title games. We did the same thing this season, but we did it with Group of 5 as an add-on this season. So we did the whole month of June, last season and the whole month of June going into this season as well. The problem with everything is that key word. It's projections. I can get a lot of these wrong. There's a lot that I've gotten right, a lot that I've gotten wrong last season. I said that Washington was going to be in the conference championship game. I said they were going to get beat by USC. That was totally wrong. I got the Washington part right though. I said that Michigan was going to be in the Big 10 championship game and they were going to win it. I was right about that, but not only that, they won the national championship. I said it was their year. So that Georgia was going to be in it against LSU in a rematch. Georgia ended up facing Alabama. Georgia ended up losing that game to Alabama, and Alabama became the SEC champions. There's a lot that I got right and wrong on that, right? Same with the Big 12. I said that Texas was going to be in the Big 12 championship game against Kansas State. I was right about Texas being in there. I got it right about them winning the Big 12 championship. It's just projections. You don't know what's going to happen. But you kind of get a sense of where things are going and where things are headed, roster-wise, schedule-wise. And when you look at all across the board, it kind of makes sense to do these projections. It's fun. It provides intrigue. And not only that, you can provide a sense of where everything is going in these conferences. Some of the best teams that I've mentioned, and that's where we're going to talk about the best of the best, and some of the teams that you would expect in there, right? Some of the teams that you would expect in the conference standing projections, Georgia, Texas, Miami, Ohio State, Oregon. There's a lot, right? And you're thinking, okay, why are you talking about this? I'm just talking about the best of the best and who I would just, keep an eye on and some of the things that can change the landscape of college football during this season. We're going to have another list episode coming up, within the next few weeks. We're going to talk about, the top games that are going to, that could, set forth and shape the college football playoff. We already did it with the 4-team playoff last season. It's going to be a little bit different this season, obviously, now that the college football playoff are 12 teams. But we're going to talk about the games that could set the trajectory and could, shape the 2024 college football playoff, regardless of it being 12 teams. These games do matter. Regardless of what people say, these games do matter. And it's going to shape the trajectory and shape the college football playoff. 12 teams, 16 teams, 4 teams, it doesn't matter. It's going to shape what the playoff field could look like. And we're going to talk about that within the next few weeks on Pigskin Frenzy. But we're not going to go into that, but we're just going to talk about some of the best teams out there that could really mold everything and not only that, win their conference and add some intrigue to the college football playoff, right? When you look at Georgia, obviously, number one, Georgia, who could win another SEC championship, and their roster is loaded. All right, let's just be honest. Their roster is still loaded, and with Kirby Smart at the helm, who is now taking over as the kingpin and the best coach in college football right now, you look at it and you're thinking to yourself, you got Mykel Williams on the edge. You got C.J. Allen still in the linebacker spot. You got probably, if not the best quarterback in not just the SEC, but in college football, in Carson Beck. You got some great running room in the backfield. You have literally, and if you want to look at it, you have two phenomenal receivers in Dominic Lovett and Ra Thomas. Got Oscar Delp, who could be a breakout candidate to replace Brock Bowers in the tight end spot. You got a lot of help. You got a lot of weapons. You got a heck of an offensive line. You're physical. You're tough. And it's kind of like when you look at everything, it's like they lost some talent, but not a whole lot. Not a whole lot like the past few seasons. They're bringing some guys back, and Carson Beck is back for a fifth and final year of eligibility. And he's getting ready to rock and roll, not only win the SEC championship and not only win the SEC, but he wants to win a national championship. He wants to start and be a starting quarterback in the national championship game and win it all. And Georgia can provide some of that this season. He's got the help. He's got the overall talent, the overall team. He's a dark horse, and we can also do another list on this like we did last season. The Heisman list, the top 10 Heisman watch list for Pigskin Frenzy. Carson Beck is on that list for me. Carson Beck could win the Heisman Trophy this season if he plays like he did last season and more. So just saying, Carson Beck can state a case for being a Heisman Trophy quarterback and lead his team to potentially a national championship. They got the talent. They got it all overall. People fear Georgia, and I think Georgia instills fear in a lot of college football. Like I said this many times, Georgia is just Alabama in Kirby Smart's vision. Kirby Smart was in Alabama and Nick Saban for the longest time. He was with them probably from 07, 08 to about 2015, 2016. No, longer than that, 2017, up until about 2017. He was with them till then. He became Georgia's head coach and then molded and recruited all these guys at Georgia and molded and took a lot of what he learned from Saban and implemented his own coaching style with it. And that's Georgia right there. Georgia is just Alabama East. They are the top dogs in the SEC. It's Georgia's time. And it's one of those things where you look at, it's like you're thinking they're going to be in it. They're contenders. We're just going to have to get used to it. They right now, they are the kind of the rulers of college football at this time. If I had to put a preseason number one right now, it's Georgia. If you want to counter that in the SEC, let's talk about a team that just made it to the SEC, and it's their first season in the SEC, and that's Texas. Texas has got a loaded roster. Steve Sarkisian knows what to do in recruiting. He is used to the SEC recruiting. He was the offensive coordinator at Alabama under Nick Saban. He knows what to do. He knows how to play SEC football. He knows how to play this game. He knows how to recruit well down in the SEC. He knows how to out-recruit SEC teams. He's been doing it in the Big 12. He's going to do it in the SEC. And he's got a loaded roster, starting with their quarterback, Quinn Ewers, coming back for a final year of eligibility for the SEC senior Quinn Ewers coming in, and he's got a heck of a quarterback room behind him. If he goes down, you got a prodigy, a Manning prodigy, and Arch Manning coming in at backup to lead this team. He's staying for Texas. So he's staying for Texas. He did really, really well in this spring game. He showed a lot of flashes that he could be one of the next great quarterbacks in college football, not just in the SEC or in Texas, but in college football. And Arch Manning is showing some of that. He's not going to start this season, but next season, they're going to feel comfortable, even if they lose Quinn Ewers. They're going to feel very comfortable with Arch Manning at the helm starting for them next year in Austin. So Texas is looking great. They got a lot of guys on their team. Amari Niblack, Isaiah Bonds coming in from Alabama, transferring in. They got CJ Baxter at the running back spot. They lose Jonathan Brooks and Kellyan Robinson, but they get CJ Baxter in the backfield. Got a lot of weapons at tight end, receiver. They got a lot of weapons on defense as well. They're a loaded team. They return I think as the stats, if this is a accurate stat, and this is what I've read, 73% of their team, 73% of their team from the college football playoff last season, in the Sugar Bowl last season, they return a lot of their teams, all right? And I put them at 2, along with Georgia at 1, because I think that they're physical, they're tough, and they're built. They're the best equipped and built to combat what Georgia is doing right now. Texas and Georgia are the top 2 teams in the SEC preseason going into this year, and that's just my take on it. Texas and Georgia, they're going to play each other October 19th. That is a game that I will cover. That is a game that we're all going to watch and see and witness. It's going to be a fun game. I can't wait to watch it. But those are the 2 kingpins in the SEC going into the 2024 season. If we move out to the Big Ten, let's talk about 2 teams in the Big Ten. I said Ohio State and Oregon, starting with Ohio State. You got a loaded quarterback room with Will Howard. You got a loaded quarterback room, a loaded area in the quarterback with Aaron Nolan. Julian Sayin transferring from Alabama to Ohio State without even playing it down for Alabama yet. You have Lincoln Kleinholtz. You have Devin Brown still there. Devin Brown never transferred. Devin Brown most likely will be the backup to Will Howard. You got Quinshawn Judkins and Trevion Henderson rotating snaps in the running back spot. Emeka Egbuka is back as the number 1 receiver. You got a loaded receiver room with Jeremiah Smith being the new kid in town who can be like a Marvin Harrison and replace him and be one of those guys that is like running things, right? You got that there. You lose Julian Fleming to Penn State, but that's okay. You replace him, like I said, you replace him with a Jeremiah Smith. You have a loaded defensive room. JT's back. Jack Sawyer's back. You got Caleb Downs as a safety in the back. You got a loaded offensive line. You're providing more toughness if you're riding day, and that's what you need for the Buckeyes. And I think they're number 1, and this is their year to probably either win the Big Ten championship, but also could win the national championship if they wanted to. They provide some of that space and some of that clarity on overall on both sides of the football and on special teams to win it all. They loaded up from the portal. They've recruited well during the offseason. It could be their time. The only question is, will they? Can they do it? Can Ryan Day overcome a lot of the hump? The humps include Michigan, and include not only beating Michigan, not only winning the Big Ten championship, but getting to the national championship and completing the race, just completing it. Can you complete a season? Can you win a championship in the national title game? Can you win that? National championship game is in Atlanta this year. Can you go to Atlanta, Georgia? And can you go to Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta and win it? Can you do it? Oregon is that counterpart for them. Just like Texas is to Georgia, Oregon is that counterpart for them. These are some of the best teams in college football right now. Oregon, Dan Lanning, solid coach, building a physical team that can combat Ohio State, can combat Michigan, can combat Penn State in the Big Ten championship game. They can combat these teams. They're loading up on the offensive line. They've already loaded up on the D line. They got great second. They got some guys in the secondary loaded up in the portal in the secondary with Jabbar Muhammad coming from Washington to Oregon. They loaded up on offense. They got Noah Whittington at running back, and they got a lot of guys at running back. Noah Whittington at running back. They got Dylan Gabriel at quarterback, transferring from UCF to Oklahoma to Oregon. They landed UCLA quarterback and future Oregon quarterback Dante Moore as their backup, who was a solid quarterback. Their quarterback room is loaded as well. Oregon has got the speed and the physical prowess to combat Ohio State and what they're doing in Columbus. They're going to play October 12th. October 12th is the date for a lot. October 12th is a loaded college football game date. Tennessee, Florida. You got Penn State, USC, LSU, Ole Miss. Oklahoma, Texas in the Red River rivalry, the first ever SEC Red River rivalry. And then Oregon, Ohio State. Loaded day for college football, loaded month for college football as well. And when you look at everything, Ohio State, Oregon, that's a game that Ohio State's going to watch out for. That's a game that Oregon's going to watch out for. It's one of those things that they can combat each other, right? So let's see what happens with Oregon and as they build and as they get ready for the season. One more thing before we wrap it up and go over to the Utah State conversation. Let's talk about the ACC really quick. Let's talk about Miami and even Clemson. Miami loading up on offense with Damian Martinez coming from Oregon State. You still got a loaded receiver room. You still got just a loaded receiver room. You still got Cam Ward coming from Washington State, and that is going to be the difference maker. Right? That's going to be the difference maker right there. Cam Ward coming in from Ohio State, from Washington State, was projected to go either to Ohio State or Florida State, but he didn't. He ended up going to Miami. He's building something down there. Miami's building something down there on all sides of the football, and Mario Cristobal is getting ready to try to win the ACC. Had a down year the first year, still rebuilding the second year, and they made it to a bowl game, won 8 games. Now they're trying to eclipse that and win the whole conference. So let's see what happens there. Cade Klubnik at Clemson. Clemson's still a physical football team. They got a physical D-line still. O-line is still working towards something, but the O-line can make it, I think, and go to that conference championship. You got Phil Maffa at running back, still in the backfield for running. Clemson is a team that is physical and it can bring it to Miami, but will they? Will they do it? It's hard to sit there and say something about Clemson because of the tools that they could use, but they're not utilizing it thoroughly. And that's my issue with Clemson. But I think they're going to be a solid team, and they could bring it and win out and try to play Miami in the ACC championship game and win the ACC. Let's see what happens. Miami and Clemson are the 2 top teams in the ACC for me. And I'm looking at Miami to win that one as well. But those are the best of the best teams from the conference standing projections. This is why I do the conference standing projections, because you outlook at some of these good teams and you outlook at a lot of what's going on there. I know I spent 15 to 20 minutes talking about this, and we're spending 10 to talk about the Utah State. We may go a little bit extra over for the Utah State thing, but because the episode's titled after Utah State anyway. So, but when you look at everything and you look at the best of the best, college football has never been hotter when it comes to a lot of things going the conference realignment, when it comes to the transfer portal, the NIL, recruiting, everything. It's never been hotter. Media deals, everything. Brand deals, it's never been hotter. But when you think about college football right now, currently, those are some of the teams that you think about that, oh man, these teams have a shot at winning it all. These teams have a shot at winning the conference championship and can surprise everybody and win it all. So let's just see what happens. Let's see what happens, and let's see what goes down, during the football season. But that's my conference standing projections recap, why I do it, and talking about some of the best teams going into the 2024 college football season. Now, let's move on from that, and let's talk about what's going on down in Logan, Utah, and Utah State to wrap up this college football edition of Pigskin Frenzy. Let's talk about what's going on, and let's dive deep into it. So, Blake Anderson, the Utah State football head coach, admire the guy. He's been a very solid. He has a good story. Admire him. Has had a solid foundation and firm set on the football program at Utah State and Logan, Utah. But when you look at everything going on, there's a lot of allegations going on to alleged misconduct of the Title IX, of their Title IX. And Utah State has announced, athletic directors and the athletic board has announced that Utah State has issued a leave of absence for Blake Anderson with a transition to permanently fire Blake Anderson from the Aggie football team as their head coach. He will no longer be with the team. He will not return to Utah State, along with Utah State Deputy Athletic Director Jerry Bovee. Jerry Bovee is no longer with the team either. They have let him go due to misconduct of Title IX allegations. Title IX is very important. You have to follow the rules with Title IX. You got to follow everything going on there, and follow conduct and follow policy and follow orders within the program. If there has been any misconduct of Title IX, I hopefully there's not. Hopefully this is all just a big misunderstanding. But if there is, Title IX is very serious, and it should be taken very serious. Respect the athletes, respect the players, respect the women, men, and everybody involved in the athletic staff locker room and on the athletic staff in general. Respect is a big thing here, and you got to respect and be in touch with the Title IX policy in any program, not just at Utah State, but any program. But if you're not entitled and if you're not in touch, you're not in respect with those with your peers and your people around you, especially with the Title IX, you don't have no business being there. And you really don't. You got to respect everybody and respect the policies enforced within the athletic program. Now, Blake Anderson's not there. The new interim coach, as I pull up my list, the new interim coach is Nate Drilling, their defensive coordinator. Utah State has announced that the interim head coach entering his first season, interim head coach and defensive coordinator Nate Drilling will serve as the interim capacity of head coach when Utah State kicks off their season, as they look for a new coach or could remove the permanent tag from Nate Drilling like they did with David Braun at Northwestern, right? As they removed the tag from David Braun at Northwestern, right? So they could do that with Nate Drilling. They could do that with him, but let's see what happens. Jeffrey Bovee has responded to his termination and has responded to a lot going on with the Title IX investigation and misconduct of Title IX. He is going to file a grievance pursuant to the USU policy. He has said that he has not it's Title IX law. He has not done anything to affect that. There has been a lot of failure to report sexual and domestic violence, sexual violence and domestic violence and professional responsibilities, and nobody has reported them. He has said that is false, and he works quite well with the Title IX allegations, and he feels like the termination has been wrong on his part. Now, we have not heard from Blake Anderson. I have not seen a statement from Blake Anderson, but this whole thing with Utah State is just kind of iffy. We had a situation like this last season, not like, Title IX, but sort of like this with Pat Fitzgerald and Northwestern. That's what I compare it to. I just mentioned David Braun. It's a good comparison. It's like Northwestern, and it's like the bullying stuff that went on in the hazing allegations going on with Northwestern. Title IX is a big deal, and whoever is not overseeing it and not complying with the Title IX rules and not reporting these allegations and not reporting these matters needs to be let go, and that's the punishment. And I think that's what you got to comply with. That's how I feel about it. It's a shameful act. You got to report violence and domestically, sexually, whatever, physical, mentally, anything. You got to report these allegations, and you got to follow the rules set by your athletic program. Big deal, huge deal. That's my thoughts on it, and I think that it was time for a change if So now, what's next for Utah State? That's the big question. You got to look for a coach. Obviously, it's the Mountain West. There's plenty in the Mountain West pool of coaches that you can look for, or whoever could be your best fit in Logan, Utah. Nate Drilling could be one of those options by the end of the year. Let's see how he does for the Aggies. Especially on the defensive side of things. You also got Barry Odom from UNLV. He could be an option at Utah State as well. There's a lot of names that you can keep an eye out for going into the Mountain West and going in for Utah State. Good place and good area is Utah State. I've been to Logan, Utah. I used to live in Utah when I was little and lived around Utah and lived around the mountains. And it's a good area, clean environment, great environment. It could be a good job for somebody going into Utah State. So let's see what happens. Let's see what's going on. If there's any more updates on the Title IX allegations and the recent firings of Blake Anderson and Jerry Bovee, we will keep up to date with it. But Nate Drilling is the interim coach now, and he is still the defensive coordinator for the team. Let's see what happens as they move forward with finding their future head coach and their next steps for the Utah State football program. Guys, that's just about wraps it up for Pigskin Frenzy today. A big thank you for taking some time out of your Tuesday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by me. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple. All you have to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X, Instagram, and Facebook, just type in Pigskin Frenzy. Follow, like the pages there. You're going to get episode updates. You're going to get news and highlights from across college and NFL football. You're going to get trivia questions on Instagram stories. Go and answer today's college football question, as well as all things up to date for Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. You will find all things up to date for Pigskin Frenzy, including our proud partners at the Beard Club. Thank you so much for being our proud partners, Beard Club. Go and get your beard grooming kits, ladies and gentlemen, and get your products 25% off summer sale with the code SUMMER. Guys, Linktree, go and look at that as well. We will be back Thursday for another edition of Pigskin Frenzy, an NFL edition of Pigskin Frenzy, as we are on our way to training camp, as we are getting ready to rock and roll with training camp, and as we get ready for the NFL preseason. We're going to go around the league and talk about some news going on around the league in this episode. I'm Joel Norris, and until Thursday, got a little bit ahead of myself, guys. I'm getting excited about doing this podcast. Guys, I'm Joel Norris, signing off. We will see you Thursday for another NFL edition of Pigskin Frenzy. Guys, for everybody out there, please and always have a great rest of your Tuesday and stay the course.